Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday's Market SITREP here, Top Gun Options. I'm Wiz, Matthew Buckley, back from spring break out in Aspen. Just an epic week out there. Had an absolute blast with the kids, and just a great break. But good to be back to work. And obviously, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. So let's hit to it. Right now, folks, Dow's up nearly 200 points, and markets are probably close to 3% from record highs here. So we're starting to get into a little bit of a FOMO rally, fear of missing out. And remember that the markets can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So we kind of blew through this quadruple top or quintuple top for the first time in my career I've ever seen anything like that. And we're hitting this with some airspeed. So now black boxes start kicking in, buy things start kicking in, and we're getting a little hypoxic up here. So getting to be very interesting. But let's go strategic real quick. Bolsonaro, the Trump of the Tropics, is visiting the White House today, and President Trump, and before the meeting, he ended visa requirements for visitors to Brazil from the United States. Remember, they smacked us in the face with that when we went in the other direction after 9/11. A lot of countries, was it Canada, some Caribbean island? I mean, we used to be able to get in with our driver's license, and now people kind of smacked us around. This guy dropped it right in front of the meeting with the president. It's kind of a good faith move, and I love this headline from The Intercept. Bolsonaro meets with Donald Trump to consolidate their far-right alliance. Far-right alliance. Sounds like something from Star Wars, right? This is the New Order or something like that. At the end of the day, folks, we have been having an absolute blast trading the EWZ, which is the iShares Brazil ETF. This thing has been the gift that keeps on giving. So here's the election. We got in right around here. Since we got into the EWZ with some synthetic, it's up 36%. We've been doing some bull put spreads, bear call spreads, iron condors. This thing's having an absolute blast. It is not too late to get into the EWZ, folks. We're going to cover that at 1 o'clock during our live trade brief. I believe in the Brazil story. I believe, at least if you think this guy is going to be the Trump of the Tropics, that the Bovespa, the Brazilian stock exchange, is going to maybe have a rip-your-face-off rally for the year and a half that it did under Trump before Democrats decided to jump in and, destroy capitalism here. But that's a different story. Google. With friends like this, who needs enemy? Google directly benefiting the Chinese military. Our top general testified to this last week. He's like, Google it's China. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The China trade war is getting ugly. Boeing's woes are the latest hiccup in the China trade talks. They were expected to buy 8,000 planes over the next 2 decades for a combined value of $1.2 trillion. Guess what just became a pawn in the trade talks. Now, obviously, the problems with the MAX. There ain't problems with the MAX, folks. There's problems with the idiot pilots that are flying them, who don't know how to aviate, who don't know how to fly first. When the technology ain't showing you what you think, look outside the window. Use your seat of the pants and fly the freaking airplane. The Lion Air crash and the other one, the guy in the Ethiopian right seat had 200 hours. I think the guys flying up and down the coast here, down here in Boca Raton, pulling banners, have more time than the guy in the right seat of that jet. But anyway, folks, what I'm getting at here is this is a big deal that China might say, we might kind of balk on buying some of these airplanes. Oh, who's Boeing's biggest competitor? Airbus. Can you imagine if China pivots over to Airbus and ditches Boeing? $1.2 trillion. Getting ugly, folks. Jamie Dimon, some kind words for the president. Trump's strategy on tariffs just might have worked. So not seeing too much news on the trade war front. There are still some last week. Trump's main advisor, Lighthizer, said, hey, man, we got some big issues that aren't even close. So obviously, there ain't going to be no mid-March meeting right up the street here in Mar-a-Lago. Hell, there ain't even going to be an end of March. They're shooting for an April meeting, and I don't know. I'm not a buyer of an April meeting as well. Currently, I have an FXI bear call spread, which is a little underwater, but I put the short calls right there, right at this 1, 2, 3, 4 top. So we're going to talk about that trade as well at 1 o'clock, but not too much in the way of trade news here, which no news is good news. I don't know about that. The last thing I read was we're fighting around enforcement mechanisms, meaning, as you guys know, and as I've been briefing you, the trade thing, it's not even going to be worth the paper it's written on, folks. These guys ain't going to they're going to sign something and they're not going to live up to it. You know it. I mean, the Chinese military stealing everything that isn't nailed down. Anyway, so stocks are open, are higher ahead of some key central bank decisions. Matter of fact, as Bolsonaro's up here, the new Fed governor down in Brazil is getting ready to make a rate decision. Then tomorrow we have a Fed. It's busy Fed day. It's their dot plot, their economic projections, the statement. Obviously, the Fed's fund rate is staying exactly where it is. If they came out with a rate increase tomorrow, I think the market would go to zero. Absolutely, absolutely implode there. Oops, sorry about that. So an unadulterated performance chase toward all-time highs is coming. So this is what's going on here, folks. A lot of people were hanging out to see if this rally had legs, and now it's going to, and now it is kind of a FOMO rally. Euphoria, world stocks in longest winning streak since October of 2017. Like I said at the beginning of this brief, stocks can remain irrational longer, and you can stay solvent. So, trade the market you have, not the one you want. Not saying I want a down market, but man, the S&P trading at 16, 17 times earnings, we're a little over our ski tips here. But again, trade the market you have, not the one you want. So the Federal Reserve rate projections could show greater confidence in what? Them doing nothing. So if we get a dovish Fed statement tomorrow, we're going higher, folks. Now, that could be a catalyst to go higher. What's the next catalyst? I mean, we're not getting earnings here for a month or so, the next round of earnings. So we're in an interesting dead space, and in the lack of just horrific news to the downside, we're heading higher, folks. Amazon, we're going to be taking a look at a bull put spread that we have on that's up about $1,800 since, I think it was last week we put this 1650, 1647 and a half bull put spread, or no, it was a couple weeks ago. And look at this, Amazon's almost up to $1,800 since we put this bull put spread on. Nice tear out of Amazon. Amazon's back, baby, and really happy with that. SIBO. Abandoning Bitcoin futures. What did I say about Bitcoin, folks? The chickens are coming home to roost. Bitcoin is in the dumps, spreading gloom over the crypto world. The value of all cryptocurrencies outstanding is down 85% on its peak. Now, in the old days when Bitcoin first came out, or not first came out, I mean when it was a rage a year ago, and I had people saying, hey, Wiz, I know you trade options. How do I get into Bitcoin? You don't. I'm getting a lot of thank you emails and texts like, oh, thanks, dude. I remember saying this. I said, I don't trade things until they have options on them. Does everybody remember? If you were a member, you remember me saying this. I said, I don't trade things that don't have options on them because they ain't grown up yet. So the SIBO actually had futures on Bitcoin. They never had options. So look at what the SIBO is doing. It's abandoning the Bitcoin futures market. We had a good bear call spread on SIBO, the Chicago Board Options Exchange, that expired for a $2,400 profit last Friday. That bear call spread hit a max profit. Very, very happy with that trade, as well as you guys should be too. But them abandoning the Bitcoin, that's less money. They're going to, if they're trading futures, they're making money. If they're abandoning an entire product line, they're making less money. So that ain't good. Would really, really, really like to know when Jack Dorsey is going to be going to jail. The CEO and Twitter admitted that they have been shadow banning people. Does everybody remember when that soy boy beta CEO testified in front of Congress under oath? Seem to remember there's a couple dudes under the Mueller investigation that are going to jail for lying to Congress. So Jack Dorsey, who testified under oath that we don't shadow ban, admits to shadow banning. Can somebody tell me when the man will be charged with perjury and will be going to jail? Is there a reason that limousine liberal tech company CEOs that commit perjury don't go to jail? Devin Nunes, congressman, filed a suit yesterday for $250 million because it turns out he was shadow banned. Again, ladies and gentlemen, he might not, that's whatever. The discovery process is going to be disgusting. So it might not go to trial, folks, but the fact that Devin Nunes did this, we are going to see the ugly innards of Twitter, and this thing is going to implode. Same thing with Face. We called this, guys. All these limousine liberal stocks are going to, they did implode. They're going to implode even more. Here comes the government. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, was blasting away at Twitter about all this stuff. Donald Trump Jr. the other day wrote a good, I think it was an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal just about how conservatives are. You want to talk about collusion or interference in an election? It's these guys, folks. I got my main Twitter account with 4,000 followers got shut down because I said something about Obama some lady with purple hair and a nose ring didn't like. That's collusion, folks. Or when they force, Democrat-friendly articles towards the top of your newsfeed. There's stuff all over my Twitter feed. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Who? Really? Folks, this is the collusion. And these companies are, I can't believe, my hand's shaking as I say this. I agree with Elizabeth Warren. Break up these big tech companies. If this is our new public square, and folks, I'm a capitalist. I don't believe I'm saying this, but guess what? There is no other choice. A Google, a Facebook, a Twitter, they can destroy your lives. I have a couple bad Google reviews. I've been in a year and a half trying to get these reviews down because they're absolute lies and falsehoods. So, folks, I'm a capitalist. I'd say, hey, build your own conservative Twitter. Build your own, go out. The market should decide. Well, we're past that point. The barrier to entry is so high with all of these. They've built such a big moat around it that a libertarian like me, wants to put a bullet in his head when I say break these up and the government has to come in and regulate them. So, guys, this ain't good news for these guys. I get that everything's up today. Everything's up today. Duh, Facebook. Trust me, listen to me. I was right a year ago. I'm going to be right again now. The fangs are just, they're dead money and they're full of roaches. If there's one roach in the kitchen, there's a hell of a lot more of them, okay? All right, I got to get going. We got to do our joint weekly options and primary live trade brief today at 1 o'clock. Make sure if you want to kind of check out and see what we do here at Top Gun Options, you can take a 7-day test flight for only $38. Literally I think a hot buttered rum in Aspen was about $50 for less than one drink in Aspen. All you need to do is head to go.topgunoptions.com/go-flight, and you can take a 7-day test flight into what we do here, all of our live trade briefs, and have a good time with us, okay? So head to go.topgunoptions.com/go-flight. $38. Get airborne today. Reminder to my members, like I said, at 1 o'clock Eastern, we have our joint weekly options and primary live trade brief. And then tonight, we're going to do our full throttle training session. I think we're doing synthetic stock and long call diagonal. So very much looking back to getting on the horse, getting back from spring break and making some money. So have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge and God bless. I'll talk to you later.